Right guys, another day and we're back for some more Championship transfer rumours. We've got loads to go through in today's video. As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to drop a like. 800 likes on today's video would be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, but without any further ado, let's jump in. I know that Cardiff are no longer in the Championship, but I had to talk about this Aaron Ramsey story because this has come out of absolutely nowhere. For these past few weeks, Ramsey's been a leading candidate to be named as the next permanent Cardiff boss. Whether that would be as a sort of player-manager role, we weren't too sure, but it's now looking like the 34-year-old won't be staying at Cardiff in any capacity whatsoever, and instead, he's off to Mexico, of all places. He's agreed to deal with Pumas, and now it's just the formalities that need to be decided before that one is officially announced. Cardiff fans, how are you feeling right now? Obviously, Ramsey took charge of Cardiff's last 3 games of last season as they were ultimately relegated to League One. There was a strong feeling at one point that he'd be sticking around in some capacity for their next campaign in the 3rd tier, but that's no longer going to be the case. And yeah, Cardiff fans, I'd love to get your reaction down below. It was only going to be a matter of time before Sheffield United goalkeeper Michael Cooper was linked with a move to the Premier League, and the latest club being linked with the shot stopper is Everton, who are interested in signing him as a backup to Jordan Pickford. Now, from Cooper's perspective, I'm not sure that move makes total sense to sign for a Premier League club where you're going to be, you know, comfortably second in the pecking order. Don't get me wrong, Cooper's absolutely brilliant, but he's not getting ahead of Jordan Pickford right now, is he? With that being said, I would expect a few Premier League sides, not just Everton, to be sniffing around him this summer. One of the standout goalkeepers in the EFL last season. The good news for Sheffield United is that he is on a long-term contract with them. I believe when he signed in the summer, he signed a 4-year deal, so still got 3 years left to run on that, and you wouldn't imagine Sheffield United are in a big rush to sell him either. To the surprise of absolutely no one, Russell Martin is interested in signing Flynn Downs for Rangers. Obviously, he's worked with the holding midfielder previously at both Swansea and Southampton. The pair have a really good relationship, and yeah, it's no surprise that Rangers are looking at the midfielder right now. From a Southampton perspective, you wouldn't imagine they'd be too keen to sell. Downs coming back down to the 2nd tier, he automatically becomes one of the best midfielders at this level. Really made Southampton tick during that promotion campaign last time in the Championship. They also spent quite a bit of money on him as well, Southampton, signing him on a permanent basis last summer for a base fee of 15 million that could rise to 18 million with add-ons. With those sorts of figures, it could price Rangers out of a move, but we'll have to wait and see. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's been offered a return to English football, with Leicester City interested in bringing the former Liverpool player back to England. Now, it's been made clear to Oxlade-Chamberlain by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he doesn't have a future at Besiktas. He's still got a year to run on his contract in Turkey, but it's even been claimed that the Turkish giants could let him leave the club for free this summer in order to get him off the books. Now, Oxlade-Chamberlain's an interesting one because I remember last summer he was linked with a move to the Championship. I believe around that time it was Sheffield United who were looking at him. Obviously nothing came of that deal in the end, but by all accounts it seems like Oxlade-Chamberlain would be up for moving back to England, and with Besiktas prepared to sell and play ball with any side that is interested, this rumour about Leicester looking at him could have something to it. Sheffield United are still pushing ahead with plans to sign QPR defender Jimmy Dunn this summer, who is out of contract with QPR. Last season in the Championship, he played more minutes than any other player for QPR, so yeah, trying to replace that impact will be quite tough. A versatile defender, can either play as a centre-half or a right-back. 27 years old as well, so at a good age and available on a free transfer. You could see why Sheffield United are going ahead with that deal. Speaking of Sheffield United, they are one of several Championship clubs who have been linked with Peterborough forward Ricky J. Jones, who's out of contract this summer, so will be made available on a free, albeit any club that does pick him up will have to pay some compensation to Peterborough because of the player's age. And according to Peterborough United's Director of Football Barry Fry, the forward has had talks with several Championship clubs, and it seems like the player's currently in between sort of making up his mind really, so a few offers on the table for him. We'll probably know more about his future in the next week or so, I'd imagine. The long-term future of Jezren Raksaki is still very much up in the air at Crystal Palace. Obviously he spent last season out on loan in the Championship playing for Sheffield United. A week or two ago it was claimed that Crystal Palace were open to permanent offers for the winger, and since that point we've seen Birmingham being linked with him. Now it's clear that Birmingham are definitely in the market for a winger or two this summer. On last time's video we spoke about those links to Damari Gray. Jezren Raksaki sort of at the opposite end of that spectrum really, a lot younger than someone like a Gray, not as established but comes with bags of potential. I could definitely see a world where Birmingham pick him up. And speaking of wingers that Birmingham are interested in, Sanjay Hansen is another one that they are looking at this point in time. The winger's currently playing in the Eredivisie for NEC. He's coming off the back of a decent season where he scored 7 goals and got 4 assists across all competitions. Another fairly young option being looked at as well, only 23 years old. What's interesting about this story is he was a target for Burnley in the January transfer window, but Burnley could just never get a deal agreed with the Dutch club. Going back to the January window, Burnley were trying to negotiate a loan deal with obligation to buy at the end of the season, with that obligation being worth 3.5 million, but that bid was rejected by the Dutch club, so shows how highly they rate him. What Blues are prepared to pay for him this summer, though, remains to be seen. Leyton Orient's Ethan Galbraith is continuing to be linked with a move to the Championship, with both Swansea and Sheffield United interested in the 24-year-old. Now, Swansea were all over him back in the January window, if you remember. Swansea had a £1 million bid rejected for him. They're going to go back in for him this summer, it would seem, but face stern competition from Sheffield United. Now, it's no surprise that a few clubs are sniffing around him, coming off the back of a really good season in League One where he scored 6 goals and got 7 assists. A versatile player as well, can play midfield or as a fullback. At a good age as well, and now entering the final year of his contract with Leyton Orient. Yeah, you can definitely see why there's interest. Hull City are the latest Championship club I've seen, been linked with Plymouth Argyle's Ballymumba. Still expect a few Championship sides to be taking a look at the versatile Plymouth man, who is under contract until 2027. Cody Drameh continues to be linked with an exit from Hull City this summer. There's been plenty of Championship interest already, and according to reports, Watford are the latest club interested in picking him up. Now, at the start of the window, it seemed like it was a bit of a two-way tussle for the fullback, with both Preston and Derby most predominantly interested. Well, since that point, we've seen Preston picking up 2 right wing backs, so I'd be quite surprised if North End go back in with another offer for him. It was stated earlier in the window that Hull value him at around about £1 million. As of recording, no one's gone in with a bid that matches that. But with Watford, the latest club, taking a look at him, we could see another offer going in soon. And it looks like West Brom have got their man in terms of Lawrence Shankland. The Scottish forward has been linked with a move to the Championship for God knows how many years now, but available on a free transfer this summer after his contract at Hearts had expired. There have been a few Championship clubs taking a look at him, but it does look like West Brom will be his destination. 29 years old, not coming off the back of his best goal scoring season, only scored 7 league goals, did get 8 assists to go along with that as well as being able to play as an out-and-out number 9, can also play a little bit deeper as an attacking midfielder. But his 2 seasons prior to this one just gone by were really promising in Scotland, scored 24 league goals in each of them. How players make that transition between Scottish football and the Championship sometimes is hard to tell before you actually see them in the flesh, but yeah, after being linked with a move to the Championship for so long, I'm quite excited to see what he can bring to the table next season. Tottenham defender Ben Davies had been one of the experienced Premier League stars who had been linked with a move to Wrexham in these past few days and weeks. Well, that move will no longer be going ahead, as he has penned a new 1-year contract extension with Tottenham. Blackburn Rovers are working on the deal to sign Belgian midfielder Dion De Neve, who spent the last few years playing in the Belgian Pro League, playing for a side at the moment that have just been relegated to the second tier in Belgium. He's got 1 year left on his contract. A left-sided midfielder who can also play on the opposite flank. By all accounts, he is someone who Blackburn are looking at the moment and working on that deal. QPR are still in talks with Morgan Fox regarding a new deal for the 31-year-old defender, but according to reports, if he turns down that contract offer by QPR, Charlton would be interested in re-signing him, obviously. Charlton, the club where Fox started out his professional career, made 116 appearances for the club between 2013 and 2017. Charlton fans, would you be open to that sort of deal? Last season for QPR was sort of in and out of that side, wasn't he? He made 12 starts, 14 appearances off the bench. Sturm Grad's midfielder Tochi Chukwueze is of interest to Norwich City, although they face quite a bit of competition for the midfielder, with the likes of Hoffenheim, Wolves and a few other sides from around Europe also interested in the 22-year-old. Now, he's still under contract until 2028, but going off reports, he does fit the bill for the type of player that Norwich are after this summer. It's been reported that Portsmouth are interested in bringing Jamal Lowe back to the club this summer. Now, they were linked with Lowe last summer, if I remember rightly, but in the end, Sheffield Wednesday won the race to sign him instead. Since arriving at Wednesday, he's not really hit the heights that were originally expected of him. He was in and out of that team last season, only played 961 minutes of Championship football in total, got 3 goals, 2 assists. Has still got 1 year to run on his contract at Hillsborough, but I think we all expect quite a few sales from Sheffield Wednesday this summer with their ongoing payment issues behind the scenes. Lowe, thinking back to his Pompey days back in League One, I mean, he was absolutely electric for them, wasn't he? You wouldn't imagine right now he'd command a huge transfer fee either, so can see why Pompey are looking at him at the moment. Aston Villa have been credited with a strong interest in Stoke City midfielder Sol Sidibe. The 18-year-old is a highly thought of prospect at Stoke. We only got to see a little bit of him last season. 3 starts in the Championship, 5 appearances off the bench, totalling 304 minutes of football in total. He is under contract with the Potters until 2027, and along with Aston Villa, there are supposedly a few other clubs who have inquired as well. But there you guys have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to drop a like. And as always, any other transfer rumours that you've seen going on and around in the Championship, make sure to let me know about them in the comments down below. Apart from that though guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.